In the early settler days of Round Rock and Williamson County, schools were often an early step in the town's founding. Every community, no matter how small, had to build its own school if these parents wanted their kids educated. Without established options for transportation, almost all students walked or hitched horse or wagon rides with neighbors if they were lucky. These schools were called common schools, and some were used up until the development of school districts, which mostly happened in the 1920s and 30s. In 1901, there were a whopping 104 common schools in Williamson County. We pulled out the trusty Texas Time Machine calculatron and added up all the present-day non-college campuses to give some perspective. We have 160 across the whole county as of 2021. Here's a few anecdotes and fun stories about some of the early school sites of learning and community. William T. Dyer and his family were among the first non-American Indian settlers in this area. He and a couple of neighbor families established a very basic school they called Palm Valley for 5 children. His own children were the only ones who could read. The other 3 children could only cipher, which means they could do basic math. Nearby Masons in the 1860s were the major benefactors that established Round Rock's first proper high school. It wasn't free, however. Students had to pay $4 a month. It went by 3 names over the years: Greenwood Masonic Institute, the Round Rock Academy, and finally, the Round Rock Institute. It had a famous scoundrel as a very temporary student, John Wesley Hardin. His younger brother had been attending for a few weeks when one day John Wesley showed up in between looting and gunfights, hiding from authorities. He found out about his brother attending the school and decided he wanted a diploma as well. He took exams and graduated all in one day. He then quickly left, having attracted local attention with this stunt and fearing authorities would soon arrive. A cultured cutthroat, one could say. Local Presbyterian churches took over running this high school for a few years, but they fell into debt over expenses so regularly that in the 1880s, local civic agency and funds took over. Courses still came with a charge until 1888. The Round Rock Institute burned in February 1911, the same day Walt Levon was found murdered in the nearby Brushy Creek footbridge. No connection between these two events was ever found, but suspicions remain. One nearby common school, Caldwell Heights School, near the present-day Terra Vista neighborhood, had many students from far afield. Their long, dangerous walk could be almost cut in half by crossing one farmer's field. To do so meant climbing his fence. His solution? He built a set of stairs on a 2-sided ramp. Then they could cross without getting cut on barbed wire and without damaging his fence. Cedar Valley School, near present-day Fern Bluff and Cat Hollow, was nicknamed Seed Tick School because of all the ticks the children acquired walking along Brushy Creek. That school's first teacher, hired at its opening in 1904, was only 16 years old. Highland School at one point was also named Highland School with a Y, even though it was run by a totally different organization and charter. Maybe the subtle name change was simply to save paint. Locals of this common school practiced wagon pooling, with an organized list of willing parents to transport neighbor kids during bad weather. Bullying is not a new phenomenon. Many teachers were bullied by their students who were hardly younger and often much bigger than their teachers. Switchin' branches, or as James Brown famously sang, lickin' sticks, were basic equipment for all teachers. The Texas Time Machine has already paid a visit to the Hopewell School, built for black students in those segregated times. One interesting tidbit we left off that episode was that this school also allowed adults into its classes and had vocational training. During the Depression era, this school only remained financially solvent due to extensive fundraising carried out by parents and other invested neighbors. One more anecdote. The Merrilltown Common School's original building burned down, which was a fate for so many of the common schools of Williamson County. The fire started during the school day, but luckily a local farmer noticed smoke from the back room and ran into the school to tell the unaware students and teachers. Everyone evacuated safely. Its replacement still stands today, but unfortunately the Texas Time Machine investigators haven't found its current location. Maybe near the Wells Branch Homestead site off of Clattenhoff Drive? Let us know on our Facebook page if you know where it is. There are so many stories of these old common schools. Maybe the Texas Time Machine will have to make another turn of the 20th century stop soon.